Hey good people, and welcome back to the channel. It's Friday, and you know good and well you're ready to talk about who got voted off last episode. So in a few moments, you'll be hearing my thoughts and feelings on episode 10 of Ready to Love DC. I still feel like the show was trash for how it ended last episode, but in my first video for this season, I predicted that several men, including Naeem, would be locks to get eliminated from the show. Did my predictions come true? Stay tuned to find out. So this episode picks up at the cliffhanger from last week, with Cornelius and Naeem up for elimination. We get a scene with Zadia talking to Naeem and telling him that he's safe from elimination. We then switch back to Cornelius and Camille lets Cornelius know that he was voted off the show, but she will also be self-eliminating with him, which I believe is the honorable thing to do. The show is called Ready to Love, and while I can't speak to whether Cornelius and Camille are actually in love, I believe that the cast members should not be penalized for connecting with one another too soon, but I also believe that Cornelius was eliminated as a ploy to get rid of Camille. You won't be able to convince me otherwise. So we get back to the resort and we get a scene of Phil and Shiloh. Shiloh has been mostly quiet over the past few episodes, but she's looking amazing during this scene. So Shiloh and Phil are playing a card game where they're asking each other relationship-based questions. During this time, Shiloh tells Phil that he is her strongest connection and she wishes that he would be more direct and open with her. Phil falls short of returning the same energy towards Shiloh, which gives her some concern. Here's what I have to say to Shiloh. Had Tyrone still been on the show, he would have walked 20 miles in the snow while barefoot just to get your feminine hygiene products. I say the brother would drink her bathwater by the gallon. Shiloh being with Tyrone would make him want to rededicate his life to Jesus. But she got rid of him, and now she's stuck with a guy who has options. Good luck, Shiloh. Dante and Aisha share a scene together, and Aisha is glowing like Bruce Leroy from The Last Dragon. You can see the aura that she gives off when Dante is around, which to me means that he gave her that good old pickle tickle after that massage. But they have good chemistry together, and they really seem to be into one another. Back at the resort, we get a scene of Frank and Mumin walking at the National Mall, and Mumin is also looking amazingly stunning. Frank recalls his first date that he had with Mumin, and he gives her a golf ball that he had stolen on the date with the date handwritten on it. Frank is really laying it on thick in this scene, but he is also honest with Mumin and telling her that he has another connection. While Frank and Mumin look good together, I still don't trust that Frank is fully on the Team Mumin train. Dante and Zadia have a date. During this time, Zadia tells Dante that she feels he abandoned her for the weekend and she felt uncovered and unprotected. Come on now, Zadia. You've had a connection with Naeem since the very beginning. Why feel some type of way because Dante has a connection with someone else now? So in response, Dante puts his foot down and he lets Zadia know that he wouldn't want to be second fiddle to her connection with Naeem. He also tells her that he's feeling Aisha, and Zadia gets in her feelings and she leaves all upset. And just when all seems to be well, Zadia comes back and stands in the face of Dante and tells him that she was going to choose him but not anymore. She then puts her hands in his face and she's displaying very masculine energy during the scene. To me, it seems like she's more angry that Aisha has Dante and not so much that Dante just has another connection with another woman. But I digress. Walter and Sabrina have a scene together, and she recalls her journey to becoming a stripper. She went from the pole to the pulpit, and it was only through the blood of Jesus that it happened. Sabrina questions whether Walter really likes her or not, but Sabrina tells Walter that the energy he gives her will be the energy she gives him in return, which to me is kind of silly. If you like the guy, then make it known. Don't always wait for him to make the first move. We then get a scene of Phil and Sydney together, and this appears to be their second date. They talk about their connections with other cast members, and Phil also opens up about his mother to Sydney and lets her know that he wants to get to know her better. I think Phil is more physically attracted to Sydney, but he has a better overall connection with Shiloh. Phil and Sydney share a passionate kiss together, and I think Sydney won't pressure Phil to choose like Shiloh would. Nephew Tommy then meets with the remaining men to discuss their connections. The majority of the guys are telling Nephew Tommy about the conflict between Zadia and Aisha, and Naeem is seemingly taking up for Zadia. The men talk about their connections on the show, but when it comes to who they aren't feeling, the topic of Zadia comes back up, and Naeem is protecting Zadia better than the Secret Service protects the president. So Zadia and Mumin are up for elimination. Walter first meets with Mumin, and Mumin has an attitude with him because she's still angry with Walter over the Sabrina situation. Walter ultimately lets Mumin know that she's safe from elimination. Phil then meets with Zadia, and Zadia is dressed to kill. She suspects that she's going to be eliminated in my opinion, and she has a passive-aggressive attitude with Phil during the scene. Zadia assumes that she is no longer ready to love, and Phil bids her a good night. Something tells me that Naeem tipped Zadia off before being eliminated beforehand, because Zadia shares how messy the men were during deliberation, and she also recalls some of the things that Dante said. But in a surprise move, Naeem meets with nephew Tommy to talk about his connection with Zadia, and Naeem also agrees to self-eliminate. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I would give this episode a 5. Last week I predicted that by the end of this episode, Cornelius, Camille, Zadia, and Naeem would be gone. However, to be fair, I was not accurate in how they left the show. Nevertheless, the show has become pretty predictable at this point. I think Phil will pursue Sydney full steam ahead and leave Shiloh in the wind. I think Frank will pursue Mumin, Walter will pursue Sabrina, and Dante will pursue Aisha. And 3 months after the show's ended, none of them will be together. There are only a few more episodes left for the season, and I know everyone who checks out this review can't wait for the show to be over. But at the conclusion of this season and the reunion episode, I will be posting an additional video of changes that I would like to see going forward for the future of Ready to Love. And this video will be a pitch to the showrunners and OWN. But this marks the end of my video. If you have any comments about the review or the episode, please leave them in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to reply to each and every comment. Until next time, stay tuned and stay safe. Peace.